Hello and welcome to the YMS channel. Today you join me at Mercedes-Benz World to go look around some of the great cars that I have on display. Let's go around and take a look. The first car we got on display is a 1993 190e Cosworth DTM car. When Mercedes decided to go racing with the 190e, they approached Cosworth to do the development work for the engine. The first engine was a 2.3 16 valve engine. The second upgraded one was a 2.5. This car here is a 2.5 16 valve. It's interesting how similar this car is to the road car. You've got the wider wheel arches, which was found on the Evo. You've got a deep front splitter. Again, you found that on the Evo. That was adjustable on the road car as well. And then you got the driving position, which is again similar to the road car. Later DTM cars had a much more central driving position for center of gravity. And if you come to the back, you've got a fixed rear wing. What an amazing looking car. The road-going version of the 190e Cosworth, the Evo car, had a much bigger wing. This one's tiny by comparison. To show how similar this car is to a normal road car, take a look at the door handle. It's still got the door locks on it. If you watch Formula 1 regularly, you know that Mercedes provide a medical car. These days, Aston Martin also do it. They take it in turns. But until recently, it was always Mercedes. This here is a C55 touring car, or estate as we call it in the UK. This is a Formula E car driven by Nick De Vries and Stoffel Vandoorne between 2019 and 2020. They look so big in person. Lewis Hamilton's 2008 McLaren Mercedes F1 car. Wow. These cars look so complicated in person. I mean, just look at the wings. You got basically a double wing at the front. Then you got this kind of nostril type look to it. The barge board has an extension. What a stunning looking car. Lewis, of course, has always been a Mercedes driver. Even back in his karting days, he was backed by Mercedes. But now, he's moving to Ferrari, which is going to be interesting. Got here a 2006 McLaren Mercedes. At the time, Mercedes and McLaren were partners. I think Mercedes were even minority shareholders in the team. But Mercedes wanted to take over the entire team. Ron Dennis was not interested in selling the shares to Mercedes, so they parted ways. McLaren went to Honda, which didn't work out. Mercedes bought the Braun F1 team, which, as we know, then became the most successful F1 team of the last decade. But now McLaren and Mercedes are back together, but Mercedes is just a private supplier of engines. They're not actually partners in the sense of shareholding. These cars have so much aero. I mean, even the back of the car has got basically 3 rear wings. You got one here, you got the main wing, and at the bottom you got another one. And you got air slots all over the place. Got one here, got one coming out the side ducts, engine cover. We've got here one of the oldest racing engines in the world from 1894. It's a 2-cylinder unit. I think this has to be one of the cars of the entire museum, the W196R streamlined body. This was Mercedes' return to Grand Prix racing, and what a return it was. Fangio raced alongside Carl Kling to finish 1-2 in the very first race, so it was a remarkable return for Mercedes into Grand Prix racing after the war. During this period, the rules allowed various body types and specifications for Formula 1 cars. That's why you got this extraordinary looking, almost unique car for the period. Note the side exhaust pipes, the tartan seats, wooden steering wheel on this beautiful streamlined body. Gotta be one of the most beautiful racing cars of all time. For those of you who know the 300 SL well, you'll recognize the wheel arch extensions that you got here. That's to help the airflow around the wheels. Mercedes SLC rally car. Don't know much about it, but it's cool to see one. It's in original condition. Got cracked windows, dents. It's a luxury coupe used as a rally car. Now this is a classic, a Formula One safety car from the early 2000s. It's a CL55. We've got here a 1998 McLaren Mercedes. Just look how simple this looks compared to the 2008 car that we saw for Lewis Hamilton. The simple front wing, the barge boards are such a simple item on the car, and the rear wing is just two levels. You've got one small little wing at the bottom, and even the top wing is actually quite small. The changes within 10 years have been remarkable. The late 90s and early 2000s was the golden age for Formula One engines. They revved up to 20,000 RPM. They were V10 screaming away on the track. Absolutely perfect. I think the current engines are really muted, and luckily they are changing that for 2026. Let's see what happens. This has to be one of the most famous Formula One art pieces in the world. It's an exploded Formula One car made of 3,200 pieces, giving you a detailed look at the mechanical aspect of a Formula One car. My favorite part is in the middle, where the engine is. Just zoom in, take a closer look. Formula One cars are unique in the sense that these are prototype hand-assembled vehicles, and I don't think a lot of people realize that, just how unique they are. Each component is put together by hand by a group of people within a factory, and that's only for that 1 year, and then the following year a lot of those bits become obsolete. I would love to have those exhaust pipes displayed on my wall. Here we have the front of the car. You see all the suspension components, the brakes. The new AMG GT63, it's got a lot of presence. So earlier we saw a early 90s DTM car. This is a mid 2000 DTM car, and just look how different these look. These look more purposeful with the aero, and just look at the seating position. I don't know if you can make it out on the camera, but it's pretty much in the middle of the car. Coming around to the back, got a much more aggressive rear end with a diffuser on this car. I think a lot of people would agree that the 80s and 90s and the early 2000s was the golden age for German touring cars. Since then, I've kind of stopped watching it because the cars are not as interesting as before, and the manufacturers, the great manufacturers like Mercedes, BMW, kind of stopped participating in it properly. Note the side exhaust pipes on this car. The 190 had them more traditional coming out the back. You've got here the Benz Motor 1, said to be the world's first car. Comes with a one-cylinder engine. The Mercedes 75 PS1 Spider. Only a two-door car, but the size of a small van. This car's got 5 pedals. I have no idea what they'll be used for. I'm in the gift shop and I got a Lewis Hamilton t-shirt. I wonder if they're going to be on discount in the next couple of months.